Okay, last chapter 9 video here, and I just want to quickly cover theoretical yield, actual yield, and percentage yield. Theoretical yield is the amount of product produced if 100% of the limiting reagent is used up. And this number is calculated. We use stoichiometry to calculate the theoretical yield. And theoretical yield, it's like the amount of product we can make theoretically in a perfect world. Um, in the real world, not every single limiting reagent is going to get used up. It's not going to be 100% of the limiting reagent. Some of the limiting reagent might not react for various reasons that we'll talk about later in this class. Um, but again, theoretically, what should we get? And again, this is calculated using stoichiometry. Actual yield is if you actually do the lab. Let's say you do the lab, you do an experiment, and you generate some product. The amount that you actually make in the lab is the actual yield. Now, percentage yield is simply actual yield divided by theoretical yield times 100. The way I remember it is Pat times 100. Pat times 100. Now, if I ask you to write out the equation for percentage yield on a test or something at some point, don't just write Pat times 100. That doesn't work. I want you to know what these variables stand for. Percentage yield equals actual yield divided by theoretical yield times 100. So let's just, I'm not going to type anything up here. There are some percentage yield questions on the practice quiz. So let's say we do a lab and we determined at the end of the lab we react two chemicals, we get a certain amount of product, we find the mass of that product, and let's say we determined in the lab that we got 2.3 grams of product. Now, we also, using stoichiometry, we do the stoichiometry on it, we do the calculations, we go from, we figure out the limiting reagents, figure out how much theoretical yield we can make from that, so how much product we can make from that. We do all that math, and we get an answer of, let's see, what should I call this? Calculated. So calculated, again, using stoichiometry, using the balanced equation, figuring out limiting reactant and all that stuff, we get a number of 3.1 grams. So again, in the lab, we got 2.3 grams. The calculated number, if 100% of the limiting reactant was used up, we should have gotten 3.1 grams. Well, what's the percentage yield? Well, percentage yield, again, is actual over theoretical times 100. So just got to figure out which one is which here. Well, actual is what you did in the lab. So 2.3 grams. Theoretical is what you calculate, what it should be. 3.1 grams times 100. So 2.3 divided by 3.1 times 100. Sig figs, both these numbers have 2 sig figs, so my answer should have 2 sig figs, so 74. And then I treat the percent sign as a unit. So just like if you leave a unit off your answer on a test, if you leave the percent sign off on the test, I will take a point off for that. So one thing, almost always, actual yield is going to be less than theoretical yield. So almost always it's going to be smaller number on top, bigger number on the bottom. Now, if your lab has a lot of error in it, you might actually get a number that's bigger, but that would have to be kind of a messed up lab. So for our purposes, smaller number on top, bigger number on bottom, times 100. Because you're never going to get 100%. So that's it. You'll see on the practice quiz there's a few different questions. They're all worded kind of differently. The key is figuring out which one is actual and which one is theoretical. The one you calculate is theoretical. The one you actually get from doing a lab, from an experiment, is the actual. So that's it for Chapter 9. Done with the videos for Chapter 9. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, stop in, send an email, any of that stuff, or watch the videos again, look over the notes. You got a book too that's a good resource. So talk to you later.